Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Dead Space 3. Let's continue. I don't mind saying that I have had a hard time, probably in the last 6 months plus, of just having a scenario where I will play even like 2 hours in a row. Just leave this Necromorph to stab another Necromorph. Like, is he making more Necromorphs by killing them or what? Like, the Necromorphs are so much not a challenge anymore that I can just use them. And it just doesn't matter. With damage increasers and stasis coding. But yeah, this is definitely one of those games where, because they're moving it to an action experience, they want you to potentially play it hours and hours in a row. And yeah, I just haven't been able to do that for any game lately. I'm getting old and tired, I suppose, is the only way to really describe it. Remember in the second game there was that big drill bit you were on top of? This feels something like that, but not quite as good. And so you have this action music playing, and it's just uninteresting. Let's see if I can go ahead and put the scavenger bots out in the snow. That's a interesting thought. Gotta get far enough away. You know what? I don't know if I've been placing these at all in the right place, come to think of it, because that just seemed to indicate I haven't been doing the right thing. There's nothing here. Well, maybe I've been doing this completely wrong, and the scavenger bots, if placed in the right location, will give you massive amounts of tungsten, and then that would fix a lot of the problems with not having enough resources. Suppose that's a thought. Alright, and I hate to do this, but I'm gonna just pause this recording less than 4 minutes in because, yeah, I'm gonna have to take a small break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So yeah, like, unless they were gonna just throw things at me, the only, this really can't be that much of a challenge. Like, the only thing I could think is maybe I'm supposed to be training more for headshots against these guys because their limbs just don't dismember. It is an interesting argument, certainly, to make that the Necromorph's bones basically suffer from like brittle bone disease, and their limbs dismember way easier than a human's would. Alright, I'll buy that. Meanwhile, all these lights just make the whole game feel too dark. Remember, I already turned up the contrast really high. I wonder if we could kind of play with that. I feel like I'm gonna get attacked, but let's see. Visuals. brightness. Yeah, we are here. We were to just kind of blow it out to a ridiculous amount. Does that really fix anything? No, I think you just have a little bit newer technology as far as volumetric lighting would be my guess is what's going on here. And that pretty much means that if the graphics are going to be off, it's because the creators of the game created the game in such a way that was wrong. Let's see. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. I think that's probably about where we want to be. Because when we do see light, it's fairly bright. It's just that very often they have created areas where it is not lit. And they really cannot be... What is this? An alien artifact, maybe? No, personal log. Interesting. Pause now if you want to read that. Pause now if you want to read the rest. We're still doing the whole turn it off, turn it off. I wonder if the game is literally gonna try and get us to turn off the computer in the middle of it. As an incredibly small area to attack us in. So they found these aliens, and you see a number 23 here. So these very well may be the sources of Necromorphs originally, or whatever original alien species was on this planet that eventually led to the Necromorphs. There's not anything here that resembles human. I'll go ahead and throw something and shoot it just to make sure. You have a dead guy here.
Children of Altman, the marker has a plan for all of you. When the time comes, you will be reborn. But for that to happen, Isaac Clarke must die. The future of our religion, of our very race, depends upon it. Stop him at any cost. Altman be praised.
Yeah, I don't really see the reasoning why they feel the absolute need to kill Isaac. It seems like that just kind of implies that they have no bigger plans or better things to do with their time. I don't know why these guys are particularly dead. It feels like there should have been those little head necromorphs appearing again. That way they could convert these corpses into something of value. I imagine that's where a lot of the pieces and weapons parts that I've missed are, is that they were hidden.
This is the only way he could have come. Be ready. Grenade! It's Clarke! Shoot him! He's over there!
Let's see. So, yeah, they're totally trying to get you to throw the grenades back at them. And I did a little bit of that, certainly, but I don't feel particularly satisfied with my performance on that fight. And that, once again, is just an action sequence in a game that everybody except for EA wanted to be a horror game series. Visceral employees certainly came out and said that this is not the game they wanted to make. And of course, Visceral, probably for that betrayal, also spelled their own doom, although they probably were shut down before any employee actually spoke ill. Biosample storage. Research ward. These are just like terrible location markers. Like, most people aren't even gonna see them. And there's just a ridiculous amount of doors here that imply to me that there was going to be a lot more game. It is very possible that they intended for you to spend all of the game on this planet. In fairness, I would say a significant part of Dead Space 2 also is not really on a ship so much as it is on a floating colony. But at the very least, you still felt like you were in space, not on a planet. And of course, you could make the argument everything is in space, including planets, but it's not what people think, really, when they say they're in space. So now we have Necromorphs that control bodies. So we now have Necromorphs that control bodies that can then use guns, which that certainly creates a whole nother type of encounter, but it feels like we are very late to the party with that. I was expecting that exact thing to happen way earlier. And these heads are not particularly incredibly small, where there were some smaller enemies in previous games that came in larger groups. And those were the enemies that would typically, even if you were playing fairly well, end up making you tap A and do a QuickTime event.
What the hell?
So it is a big necromorphic dragon type creature. Like, there is some science as far as how big creatures actually could be, and this is unrealistic unless they're just completely not carbon-based life forms at all. The amount of oxygen and effort to breathe, although maybe they don't breathe, limits the size of things. Yeah, he saved the guy and he didn't. Wow. So if you stasis these guys, they still do their transition. They just wait until they're unstasised. So I guess the question becomes, do you kill the humans first so they can't be used? Yeah. So there used to be a whole bunch of nests of enemies that would do that and attack you. Now they've changed it down to just 1 or 2 heads, maybe 3. And so we have to open that area with the co-op door. A lot of these guys are not giving me rewards. We'll have to get to that door to the plateau access later, I suppose. Excavator drill site. We haven't done this mini game in a while. That was particularly unfair. The game has pretty much abandoned the idea and the concept of fairness in favor of cutscenes. So, same puzzle that as the one they were showing. Yeah, we kind of don't care about this, however, because either, as it's been established in Dead Space, either we're going to have a spaceship or a turret gun or something giant to fight something like this, or Isaac just dies, and that's the end of the story. Like, there is no level of upgrading a gun to take out something that big, one would assume, and as such... Let's see, are we now in chapter 11? Nope. Still in chapter 10. So yeah, why worry about something that you can't possibly defeat anyways? This might be one place where we could maybe see them bring back the zero gravity concept. That might work fairly well. We have a discharged bench, so we'll turn on the resources.
Platform online. Attention all hands. Obstruction detected.
Oh,
Please
that's
clear to resume drilling.
That's some kind of drill. I thought that might be the pieces of a giant necromorph or a marker. Let's see how much resources we got this time. Because if we got a ton, yeah, we did. We got a ton of tungsten. Hammond's heavy frame. Heavy upper tool only frame with built-in upgrades. Let's see if we could modify this one with Hammond's heavy frame. I would severely reduce everything. I don't get why you would want that. And I don't think I want to really spend any tungsten on any of that. Let's go ahead and sell. Get some more transducers. I think we're still fine on bullets. We are moving to a point now where we're going to start using mid-health packs, though. You pretty much are never going to need the full health packs at this rate. Once again, we have an annoying sound effect. Alright. So I'm gonna place these and try and use these more in the right places, or where I think the right places are.
Isaac, you won't believe. What is that noise?
A giant drill blocking my way out. Maybe I can lower the safety gates.
Is that why?
One way to find out.
This feels like this is going to be maybe a big boss fight too. So we stasis that. Is there something I'm not understanding here? Stasis this. Grab this.
Ellie! I'm trapped! The drill's trying to kill me!
Isn't there an off switch?
No! Wait. Yeah, there's a yellow fuse in the center. I'll try to shoot it.
Alright, so
Drill core at 75% capacity. Resuming operation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All hands, clear the deck.
okay, so this is an interesting situation. They're giving you a weird
Drill core at 50%
boss
capacity.
boss fight.
Resuming
Meanwhile,
operation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All hands, clear the deck. All hands, abandon drill. Abandon drill.
it's an interesting concept considering how Isaac is an engineer and such. And it feels like this is going to end up
Fault detected. All systems shutting down.
like awakening something big.
Okay, Ellie. We're headed to the warehouse now.
Is everything okay?
Oh yeah, between this planet trying to kill us, your boyfriend hating me, this has been a wonderful trip so far.
Ross, not usually like this. I don't know why.
Just let us fight it out, okay? One of us will win eventually. Did you find the experiment?
Yes.
And?
You'll just have to see it.
Oh, good.
I wouldn't be surprised if her boyfriend is actually a plant to keep eyes on her, or the Unitologist, I don't remember which one it was even called. I also wouldn't be surprised if he's just hearing the siren of the markers himself, and that's driving him crazy. So yeah, I think this pretty much opened the path that was closed before. Okay, well, it's probably worth it to run back this way and use the bench. I don't think I got anything of importance, but I could see myself benefiting. Nope. Not really. That was a waste of time. I thought maybe there was some item or two that I may have picked up. Here we go. I don't really know the reasoning and the logic behind potentially having doors that open for you when they then immediately are going to make you wait because they're loading sections. And certainly this is an example of a game that did not get updated with time. I think we're a little bit luckier now, and now games tend to load and upgrade themselves almost automatically just by faster hard drive speeds. They don't have artificial barriers there, and they have better algorithms. That make for more efficiency with newer hardware. But that's not the case here. We've yet to see a scenario where you can just run straight to a door and then press A to open the door and run in the next area. Alright. So, yeah. There seems to be small areas that have very rich deposits of resources. And it's not just about placing them randomly to get random small amounts of resources. It is actually a bit more of a strategy concept. But they didn't really explain that well, which, I mean, we could certainly make that argument with a lot of elements of this game, is that there's been plenty of content and concepts that have just not been bothered to be explained, or there's been elements that have been underutilized and underemphasized. We still definitely feel like we're spending, I would say it feels like 55% of the game just wandering around empty areas. Like on occasion, you'll get...
There you are. We're upstairs on the observation level.
What the hell is this thing?
It's bad news, that's what it is.
Beautiful, isn't it? The scientists called it the Nexus. They thought these bigger specimens acted as conduits for the machine's control signal, broadcasting it to the smaller forms.
And that tells us how?
Because I think they found the machine by tracking the signal upstream through nerve clusters inside the creature.
Well, wait. We need to get inside that thing?
Yes! This is such a wonderful opportunity.
Wonderful opportunity.
The son of a bitch is frozen solid. How do we get in?
The scientists used heat exchangers. Let me try to ignite them. No good.
There's probably a furnace on the roof. If I can find it, I can get it running again.
Isaac, be careful up there, all right?
Yeah, don't hurt yourself.
Ellie's the one that frankly sounds weird. While the boyfriend sounds like a jerk, Ellie seems to be totally going crazy for the Necromorphs, or whatever these predecessors are. Okay, I see a 1, 2, a 3, and a 4. We can't activate them at the moment with our telekinesis, so maybe we'll get back to that. Once again, gets down to that whole situation though, where you're probably not fighting that, and I don't know, is there necromorphs inside the stomach of giant necromorphs? We've not seen that before, but it's believable.
Personal log, Dr. Earl Serrano. The Nexus experiment is, well, it's incredible. We have discovered 2 nearly pristine specimens, and crews are working around the clock to uncover them. We're learning so much about how these necromorphs communicated. The whole species seems to have been connected by some telepathic signal, from the lowliest foot soldier to the mightiest specimen. But where is the signal coming from? That is what I intend to find out.
That certainly would explain the whole make us whole concept. If the necromorphs are effectively a hive mind, or connected almost like computer system, it doesn't, however, explain just how incredibly stupid the foot soldiers tend to be. Let's just put that thought out right there. Is like, if they are all connected, then they're idiots, because all of them could have rushed on Isaac. Necromorphs could have rushed on Isaac during the Ishimura. They could have rushed on Isaac during the second game. They could have rushed on Isaac at any point in the third game, instead of just sending these small groups. We now have an archaeologist suit. Alright, let's see what the archaeologist suit will give us. It's woven with puncture resistant microfibers to increase physical protection and body heat retention. So maybe it's better? Seems very late to the party that they'd give us even a third suit. I was not really expecting that. We definitely don't have enough resources to justify the upgrades, if this actually did require upgrading separately. There we go. Full armor now. We are fully armored. We don't have enough tungsten to really do anything else. We don't have enough transducers quite to fully upgrade our suit. That being said, we aren't that far away from potentially having everything we would ever want. So let's look here. Inventory wise, that didn't give us another weapon slot, and it didn't give us another row of items. So I don't know if that really did much for us. Like, theoretically they're implying that this gives us more armor, but I'm not sure I really have a way of testing that. I guess I don't, so I'll just have to stick with it and try it out. So we've had a boss fight with a giant, or a medium-sized necromorph at this rate, and we've had a boss fight with a drill. There were no boss fights really, with the exception of the regenerators, which they were annoying. And again, if the regenerators were connected mentally to everybody else, then why not get all the regenerators to trap Isaac in one place? We're seeing a lot of these vents, and if we don't go back at some point, then we may very well just never come on. I can't pick it up because my stasis wants to grab this. Where'd they go? Okay, so we've got Necromorphs running around. But that's one way to test your health reserves. And these cutscenes are cool, but these cutscenes probably should have been in boss fights. Like, if they just introduced the idea of super versions of the existing Necromorphs, even, that would have probably worked fairly well. Alright, well. I know that there's a thing over there.
Hey, I found the generator for the furnace. Now I just gotta get to the damn thing.
Understood.
So let's see if... Let's go ahead and put another scavenger bot down. Alright, so this, well, you can't run while you have this in your hand. And I have half a thought that I shoot this in that direction. Yeah, you can't really shoot it though. That's the weird thing, is that I don't think it's gonna just magically go into the location it's supposed to go. If it is, it might be a frame rate issue. Alright, so let's search here and see what's up the ladder. Caution, high winds. Notice how it just pauses to wait for me to reload. Is there any other collectibles that I may have missed? I don't think there's anything worth spending extra time on. So now that we're in here, we can plug that in. We can look around and expect to be attacked by some Necromorphs. Well, our inventory has hit the max. Interesting. So, what I want to do is use that, grab this upgrade, click. And we've got one bullet short.
Okay, the furnace is on. How's it looking from...
Okay. So I suspect what we're going to do now is we're going to walk back through this whole area. Now that everything is engaged. And it's probably not a big reason to crawl over the area. Man. We're in a bad shape here. So we'll use 2 health kits. Definitely feels like we've got more Necromorphs making noise around here. But they've created a situation where there isn't.
Are you all right?
Great.
There aren't that many.
Hey, thanks for putting up with Robert. You know, he's not been himself.
Norton just thinks I'm trouble in a couple of ways. But you need me for the mission, and that's why I'm here. That plus, well, frankly, I hope...
Allie, is that Isaac? Great. You two having a nice little chat?
He just called to say he got the furnace going. He's on his way back now. Isaac, I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Oh, we still very easily could be in a scenario where Isaac is just hallucinating all of this. Ellie is dead. Everybody's dead. Like, all of that is totally believable. There isn't a bench here. These don't seem like these connect to anything. This area, the exterior access is all level. Seems like we're going to probably loop back to that area. But there really isn't a scenario where you get back to space that I can imagine, so still have to really question whether once you're done with the game you could just run and get to all the missing content.
The heat exchangers are powered up now, but the specimen isn't thawing. Is there something wrong with the mechanism?
Yeah, I think it's frozen shut. I may be able to work it free by adjusting the pressure in the pipes. Hang on.
Just the headers. Alright, so now we turn everything. Okay. That didn't work. 1 is no good. 2 didn't do anything. So 2 may be right. Nope. Three didn't do anything. 4 didn't do anything. 3. And then 2. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing the numbers as they're lit up. 2. Is there something to this? Let's look at the objectives here and see if maybe we can get a better explanation. Adjust the heaters. Let's see. Change. It's at 10%. You see one that's lit up. And there seems to be some weird timing here. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't really do anything. Two, one, two. Seriously, is there nothing else we can do? I imagine we are trapped in here. We do have a workbench, so let's take a moment to think for a second. That didn't give me a lot of tungsten. And honestly, it makes an argument that maybe I should just continue to focus on other things. One reload and one damage. One rate of fire, one damage and one clip. There probably is an argument to just having the game let a scavenge bot scavenge. Okay. We have a screen here, it says charge. Before then, we can't turn this. We have a number 2. Okay. And then a number 4. You have to hold the button longer. Number 3. And number 1. And then number 4 again. And then number 1 again. Then number 2 again. I guess it does say on your back, hold B. Number 4 again. Number 3. And that should do it. Was that enough, or did I have to hit a button? I think I have to hit a button. Activate. Yeah.
I think that did it.
Yes! The internal temperature is rising. And I have more good news.
What is it?
Come up to the observation booth. I'll explain it all the way. The Necromorphs are conduits for the marker's signals. Well, the researchers built a sensor to track that signal upstream to find the machine.
So where's the sensor?
Probably destroyed. But I did find the blueprints to make a new one.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah. Ellie really just feels crazier and crazier at this point. But she also sounds a little bit different in some conversations versus other conversations, which is just, I don't know how you describe that other than just kind of inconsistent voice acting, as it is. Seems like we are going to probably have a whole mining mini game that we'll have to deal with in the next recording. This whole thing feels like it's a spear, which makes me think that this thing is going to come back to life. If this is supposed to be a conduit for the signal markers, then is that not then just more evidence that as soon as you wake it up, thaw it out, it's going to send the crazy signals into everybody's brains, which could be affecting Isaac as much as anyone else. Here we are in chapter 11. We kind of moved over to chapter 11 without much fanfare. Then there's basically nothing in chapter 12, and then chapter 13 is really short, and then chapter 14 seems to have a decent amount of gameplay, and then there's nothing in chapter 15. I don't feel like that was the way this worked before. Yeah. Doesn't feel like we could be done in like 2 or 3 hours at this rate. Or at least it feels like that's the case. We're already at 4%. Yeah, chapter 12 has no collectibles. Chapter 13 has a small number of collectibles. Chapter 14 has optional missions and a lot of collectibles. 14 is going to be a big one. Chapter 15 has just 2 weapons parts. Chapter 16 has a medium amount of collectibles. Chapter 18 has optional missions. Yeah, we seemed like they're going to stretch it out to give you more optional missions. But yeah. Well, it really feels like with very little fanfare, we've gone through another hour of Dead Space 3. In all fairness, though, I don't hate this game as much as I think other people passionately hated it. I have the benefit of playing this game and purchasing this game on sale many years later, not being a victim of pre-order hype or bait and switch advertising or anything like that. So I knew what I was getting into. I'm not saying that the Dead Space 3 is good by any means. It's downright awful compared to the first 2 Dead Space games, but it's not terrible. If this was Gears of War, for instance, where and very much this game may have been heavily influenced by Gears of War, but in Gears of War you are a military first-person shooter with sci-fi technology, and that works for what it is, and that's what Gears of War has been in its entire series. So it really is just the Dead Space name that is the stumbling point. But yeah, even if I was just to evaluate this game as a standalone game, there is clearly a noticeable lack of encounters, lots of empty rooms, at least on normal. Maybe on impossible there's a necromorph in every single room, or 4 or 5 of them. We are not getting enough inventory slots, so we're starting to fill up our inventory spots, which is a little silly. We're definitely short on boss fights. We're definitely short on a story that I actually care about. I would probably suggest playing this game right after playing Dead Space 2, but that would also only enrage a passion, I imagine, if you like Dead Space 2. And since there are now feelers out there, rumors of a Dead Space reboot, there's an argument to not play any of the Dead Space games, or at the best, for historical purposes, play the first game, skip 2 and 3, and then play the reboot, assuming the reboot gets reviewed well and is actually a good game, which is kind of a big assumption from EA, particularly now since we know that whoever would make a Dead Space reboot would not really be the Visceral Games. Even if they brought back all the employees that worked at Visceral Games back then, it's been 7+ years since then. People have changed. They've gotten older. The technology certainly has changed. So we couldn't really expect them to just hop back on that horse and make a new Dead Space that blew us out of the water as far as being amazing. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.